7 years ago, President Vladimir Putin triumphantly visited Syria, declaring the defeat of Assad's enemies. And in 2024, the Syrian regime's sudden collapse to insurgent forces has left Russia reeling, exposing significant political, military, and economic failure. And I was particularly impressed by a talk, an interview given last night by my friend Caelan Robertson to Times Radio, and I'll leave a link to that at the end of this video and in the details below. Russia's intervention in Syria positioned it as a key Middle Eastern power broker, propping up Bashar al-Assad as a symbol of its influence, and Moscow's inability to prevent Assad's overthrow undermines this carefully cultivated narrative. Being friends with Russia is not a guarantee of security. That is the message which comes across today. Analysts argue that the failure of Assad's regime damages Russia's credibility as a reliable partner globally, jeopardizing its ambition for a multipolar world. Side with Russia, and there is no certainty. The Kremlin now faces the dilemma of engaging with the new Islamist-led government that it once opposed, raising questions about Moscow's adaptability and leverage diplomatically in the region. Moscow wants to hang on to its airbase and its port, and the only way to do that is to engage with the new government that it has opposed. So it needs to go crawling diplomatically on its knees with its hands in the air, desperate to cling on. Russia's military bases in Syria, notably the air base and the Tartus naval base, were linchpins of its regional strategy, and these bases not only projected power but also supported operations in Africa, and the likely loss of these assets would severely disrupt Russian logistics and diminish its Middle Eastern influence and erode its prestige that it has gained by intervening in Syria. And reports of Russian troops seeking Turkish assistance for safe withdrawal highlight the precariousness of their position and the position that Moscow now, the Kremlin now finds itself in. This is, by all levels of judgment, a disaster for Putin, and Putin must be shaking in his fridge. Russia's Syrian campaign, established to have cost up to £27.5 billion over 9 years, represents a significant but unrewarding investment, in other words. While Syria's mineral and phosphate industries offered some promise, tangible returns have been scarce because of the war, and Moscow's modest investments in infrastructure such as the Tartus port appear stranded, leaving Russia with little to show for its financial and military backing of Assad. The Assad regime's collapse coincides with Russia's resource-draining war in Ukraine, amplifying Moscow's vulnerabilities. Domestically, this double blow could undermine Putin's narrative of strength and global relevance, and internationally, the loss in Syria weakens Russia's position in shaping Middle Eastern global politics and limits its ability to counterbalance Western influence. Now, it could turn to Turkey for help in keeping the port and the airport, but Turkey is probably going to conclude that it's doing enough, simply helping Russia's troops to escape to safety. And that would be correct. Turkey is doing enough. I think Russia is going to struggle to keep those two assets. I think in the end they probably will keep them, which is a shame. There's also the question about whether Iran keeps its access to the sea and to the and to its Hezbollah troops. I think that's going to be lost. The Assad's regime collapse coincides with Russia's war, and it amplifies Moscow's vulnerabilities. And domestically, this double blow could undermine Putin's narrative of strength and relevance. Internationally, the loss of Syria weakens Russia's position in shaping the Middle East, and it limits its ability to counterbalance Western influence. The fall of Assad signals a profound strategic defeat for Russia. Politically, it diminishes Moscow's credibility. Militarily, it disrupts key operations. Economically, it underscores the futility of its investments. And as Russia navigates this crisis, it faces the dual challenge of salvaging its influence in Syria, managing broader global setbacks, and it marks a critical juncture in Putin's Middle Eastern ambitions.